One thing I wanted to show you guys that I got from work, a couple things actually. We were going through a move, we were put into another hangar. The military decided to move us again. They really like to do that. But here, I've got a retractable extension cord that I need to get a new power plug on it for. Not really all that hard to do, should work fine. These retail for about 40 bucks. They're not too expensive, but we were just going to throw it out, so I grabbed it. Same thing with this portable pump. Works fine. We actually had this on another piece of equipment we were using, and we took it off because we went to a car battery setup instead of a, power from the wall type of thing, which is what we were doing. So now with the cart that we had this on, which we used to hook up to our motors to do engine washes, we didn't need this thing anymore. So it made it a lot more convenient running it off a car battery, so we had to switch to a different pump and motor. So this thing we've had for like 2 years now. Hadn't done anything with it. It was just sitting, and we were going to throw this out as well, so I grabbed that. And may or may not be able to find a use for it or so, but we'll see what happens. Also got some hardwood because we can't have too much of that. So today I got to go to Sears, get a couple things, do a return, and we'll be taking the Nissan. So one second, guys. And by the way, I did figure out where that leak was coming from. So I had to drain all the old oil out, and I put in new oil. This is what I put in. All the forums are saying this is one of the best oils to use in your car. We have to use full synthetic anyways on these Nissans. This particular motor requires a full synthetic as per the manual. So, got royal purple. Nothing wrong with that. Though this is the first time I've ever used the oil in any car I've owned before. Oil pressure is good. Oil pressure was going all the way, or showing on the gauge, all the way down almost at 0. And really worried me for a second, because another problem with these cars is they could consume oil. So yeah, that really had me worrying for a second. I still don't know for sure if that fixed the oil pressure issue. I'll know because I'll be driving it around today. But hopefully that was what the issue was. So on the flip side, I believe that was where the leak was coming from. At least that's what it appeared to be. But of course, before I did that, I had removed and resealed the lower pan. And I had originally thought it was leaking again, but it wasn't. It turned out it was leaking from another spot. It was leaking from the oil drain plug, because I didn't realize that it had a plug gasket on it. I didn't see that there was one on there. And I just pulled it out and replaced it when I had changed the oil the first time. And of course, because I didn't see it, that's where it was leaking from. One of the main parts, it was leaking more from the drain plug than it was the oil pressure sender. But anyways, everything's a learning experience, right? And by the way, the heated seats in this car work awesome. I love having heated seats. Just thought I would throw that out there. The heated seats work really good. So I'm going to let the car warm up a little bit more, and then we'll be going to Sears, got to return something, and then got to go to my dad's house to get the jack stands, so I can jack that car up, pull the wheels off it, stick them in the Malibu, and take the Malibu to the tire shop to get the wheels changed out. Thankfully, I'm only going to have to actually pull off 3 wheels off of there and leave the other one on, because one of those tires, the sidewall, has got like a pretty long scratch in it. So yeah, I'm not gonna switch that one over just for good measure. So back in a sec, guys. So I did manage to get one side on. It's not a perfect fit, but it's a lot better than it was. There's also appears to be some sort of cover back here that was supposed to go on, which I also do not have. But I encountered a problem, not with this, but I bought this from Rock Auto. And here's the issue I had. This is supposed to be the one for this side, but it's supposed to look like the one that's on that side. Now they had this labeled as the correct part. The bag that it came in it showed the correct part on it for the one that I ordered, but it's the wrong one. So I'm gonna have to initiate a return with them, and hopefully they can get me out the other one, the correct one. So yeah, and as you can see, I don't even know where the hell this is supposed to go. I thought at first that it's supposed to go up like that, but I've never seen anything like that before. This is like a rubber mat. Smells bad too, but I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to go there. But the other one looks identical to the other side, the one that they should have sent me. It goes up under here, goes up and around. In fact, you can still see part of the old one that's still on here. So yeah, Cock Auto kind of dicked me over on that one, and I'm gonna have to get a return process going on that. But anyways, looks like my oil leak is fixed. Haven't noticed anything. The new fuel pressure sender is right there in the middle. Can't really see it all that well, but it's a bitch to get to. Let me say that much. This motor, this car, you know, this car in general, half of it they did right. The fuel pump is really easy to get to. You just take the back seat out. No big deal. Doing the associated, you know, bumper reattachment and everything wasn't too hard. Putting the fog lights back in wasn't too hard. Doing the suspension wasn't too hard. But there are some things, like working on this motor, that is an absolute pain in the ass. And as much as I like this car, this is not a mechanic's car. This is not a car that I would buy and work on it myself. Because look how much space you have to get to stuff. That's, yeah, in order to do that serpentine belt, you have to do it from the bottom. You have to take the wheel off and get at it from the bottom, which all in all isn't that difficult. But compared to my Chevy Malibu, the Malibu is like infinitely easier to work on than this thing. There's two things that worry me about this motor. I've been doing an extensive amount of research, and these motors have really two main problems that they can develop. There's really no guarantee whether your car will develop them or not, but the first one, and again, neither one of them are exactly cheap or even easy to deal with. The first one is the timing chain guides. These motors, I guess, have a problem burning those up, and they fall apart, and it creates a rattling noise when you first start the motor up. This motor's not doing it, at least not that I can tell, but it is something that would worry me. The second part is oil consumption. These motors can, for some reason, start to develop oil consumption problems, meaning the motor burns oil. That oil consumption is what ties in with this oil pressure. That whole deal right there. And that's what really worried me when that gauge up there started acting really funny, and it still kind of is, but not nearly as bad as it was. I think the gauge itself might be screwed up, but I'm not sure about that. I didn't really plan on keeping it, and it's just the amount of money that I could make from selling it. I did, on the other hand, get the under engine covers that go onto the bottom of the front bumper. Got these from Rock Auto as well. From what I can tell, these are the correct parts. It's just that one part they sent me was the wrong one. And somebody must have stuck that part in that wrong bag, because it came in a bag. That's what's weird, is that came in its own bag labeled as that part. This one didn't. This one was kind of, it wasn't creased in half, but it was folded a little bit. I mean, it wasn't in a bag. They had to fit it in the box somehow. And yeah, I mean, that's just really weird that, you know, it ended up like that. I wish there was a way to fix that. I'm kind of OCD with a few things, guys. Stuff like this really kind of bothers me. I'm really weird with some things when it comes to cars. Another one of them being is I like my vehicles to be stock. Really one of those things that just irritates the living hell out of me when people modify their cars and do things like that. I mean, yeah, it's your money, you could do with it what you want, but when it comes to something I'm going to buy and or fix to sell, this is exactly the situation that I highly, highly despise. where I have to go back in and fix some guy's screw-ups that didn't even have it done properly. But anyways, it's a good rant, I guess. It just really irritates me, guys, when people do that. You know, they go and spend, you know, all that money on wheels and tires like this. Pretty sure that guy just, you know, did a ghetto lowering job. It sure looked like it. And they don't even do it properly. They invest all that money into wheels and tires and whatever else, and they just tear the car up. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you know, it's one thing if it's on like a $1,000 beater car or even a $1,500 beater car, you know, not a big deal. But an 06 Altima with a trim that only 5,000 of these were made for the 2 years it was in production, roughly 5,000, and the guy just tears it up. That just really gets to me. Really does, guys. Really does. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put this wheel back on and drop the car on the ground. One other thing that's holding me up is, you guys will see, but these little holes right here, they're supposed to be these nut plates, these little clamps that go onto it, kind of like that. And at the top of it, there is, you know, it's threaded. It's basically a clamp with threads on the other side of it, and it kind of just sandwiches over these parts, and that's what allows you to, you know, attach that whole piece of plastic that covers under here without having to use nuts and bolts. It's very handy, but I only had 2 of them, and I used them on that side over there to attach that side of the wheel cover, the wheel well liner. So that's kind of an issue. So I'm going to have to find some way to source something that'll work for that purpose, because I'm going to need one. There's another one here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 of these things, possibly even, you know, a few more, in order to complete this job. Now, some of you are wondering why I'm going through the trouble of replacing something that you can't even see as a new owner. Well, it really should be on the car. It cuts out on wind noise. They're not exactly that expensive. They're not exactly even that hard to install, so I might as well just install them. I'm going to have to source what part number those are that cover the sides of the motor. So I don't really even know about that, if that's even supposed to look like that or not. It really doesn't look like it. So it's just one thing after another, guys. It really is. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put the wheel back on, get the car up, put the car back on the ground, and drive home. Guys, I'm sure collecting a small mass of keys right now. Nissan, Chevy, Ranger's on here, the Toyota. I just took the wheels off the Toyota, brought them in with this car, and had 3 good wheels, or actually 4 counting the spare, which is still in the trunk here. I had all 4 of those tires put on here. I think I need to get this aligned. Should have just done it while I had it at the shop, but I'll be doing it here pretty soon. But there you go. Not bad, not bad. And then, as you can see, it's kind of a bunch of wear marks. This is the best tire out of the 4. I told them to just keep it because I wasn't going to have them put any tire on the rim. I just kept the rim. You know, as it is. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. It's actually a pretty good condition wheel. So I might find a way to see if I can sell it or something. I have no idea. I got to bring the jack stands back over to the shop and drop them off, and we'll be going here pretty soon. Still isn't leaking at all. If you guys haven't figured out yet, it's tomorrow. Just gonna combine this video with yesterday's video, which I still haven't uploaded yet. It's amazing, guys. But this This Malibu, I've actually, for the most part, been pretty happy with it. You know, oddly enough, the build quality isn't exactly all that great compared to that Nissan. But at the same time, parts for this thing are like a lot cheaper than that Nissan is. This car is a lot easier to work on too, and that Nissan isn't. At least not in the motor. Not with the motor. But anyways, back in a second. Oh, funny story about the whole tire swapping before I clip out. I was going to take it over to Firestone and have them do it, and called them a few days ago. They told me everything was cool and that they would have done it for like, I think it was like $110 or something like that. So, yeah, that didn't work out. I got there this morning right when they opened, and they fed me some line of shit saying, oh, because they're used tires, they didn't want to mount them on the wheels, which is fine. But they could have told me that on the phone 3 days ago when I called them. But, I mean, the guy was nice enough about it. He wasn't the one that I'd spoke with on the phone, so it's quite possible that whoever I just talked to on the phone didn't know what they were talking about, or, I don't know, maybe they didn't want to do it. But I took it over to another chain tire shop. And they did it for literally half the price, like 60 bucks. So, score there. Got some new tires on the Malibu for half the price of what I was thinking. And everything seems to work out good so far. The car rides a hell of a lot nicer than it was. Like I said though, as soon as I get paid, I'm gonna go ahead and get the alignment done. This guy here on his bike, he's got a AAA sticker on the back of his helmet and on the back of his bike. Sitting in the turn lane. The guy's looking at me funny too. It's like, dude, you're in the fucking turn lane for cars. God, some people and then, of course, if I had hit the guy or if he had purposely ran into me for, an insurance claim or for a lawsuit, I would be at fault, I think. Anyways. So, off to the dance. Back in a second. So now I'm on my way to go sell this book. I'm trying to sell it on eBay for like the past month or two now. Probably about the past month. And nobody's wanted it until today. Somebody messaged me on eBay, told me they live in the same city that I do, and they want to come pick it up. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna go deliver this book. Meeting me in a public spot, so that's 30 bucks right there. I don't even remember how much I paid for that damn book, but I don't think it was $30. I think it was like 50, if I remember right. But that's more than I would get if I sold it back to the school. So anyways, pressing on.